All right, Coach. Just start by talking to me about this season and just how cool it is that you get to be playing more golf this weekend.
Yeah, it's always nice to play a little bonus golf. This has been a bit of a long time coming for our program. Our teams have been knocking on the door for quite some time. We've had some close calls with the at-large selections at times, so it's nice to see that come to fruition, and I'm so proud of our team for the way they played this year.
You got to walk me through your feelings in that room when they called your name out. I asked some of your guys, and they said we were pretty confident, but we had butterflies in our stomach.
Yeah, there's always the doubt. It's like I mentioned to you before. It's you've got a couple shot lead coming down the stretch in a golf tournament. Although that looks promising, it's not guaranteed, especially in the sport of golf, because you're only one swing away from a bogey or a double. So we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we did want to be diligent with our homework. So we did a lot of research on the front end, tried to make some phone calls to get a feeling for other teams and their experience in past years being in this similar situation. So it was nice to have a little peace of mind, but until you see your name come up on the board, you don't want to jump to conclusions.
Talk to me about the Athens Regional and just kind of what you've seen from those teams, and kind of how you feel like your team's ready to go and play in that tournament.
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to focus on this week is the short game piece. I do feel like it gets neglected at the collegiate level some. Between 18 and say 22, 23 years old, I feel like that's an area where you can really make some leaps and strides in the game of golf, especially from a team standpoint. So we're going to focus on hitting a lot of that this week. The guys are out there now working on that on our facility, the Judson. So it's funny, I've actually got my old yardage book from when I caddied on the Corn Ferry Tour back in the day. So I haven't been to the course since then. But I do remember a little bit about it, so it is some bit of a familiar golf course to me, but looking forward to seeing it again.
Talk to me about some of your players and just how cool it is for you as a coach to see them play in the NCAA tournament.
It's amazing. These guys are all great guys. They're raised by great people, come from good families. So to see the fruits of their labor pay off and get a tee time at regionals is great. Jake Moffitt is a new guy to the team. Jake's had a great freshman campaign, freshman of the year for Sunbelt. Between Ben Fernandez and Matthew Javier being all conference guys, that's a nice staple to have in your lineup. But, I'm also as equally as proud as I am for Mick and Walker Wise. Those two guys were huge for us this spring, stepping up in key moments of the season to get us to this point. So I always tell the guys, you're only as good as your 1 through 5 guy. No one player is going to win a tournament for you on the team leaderboard. So it's nice to see them, rally around each other and get us to this point.
What was one moment this season where you kind of just saw your team and you were kind of like, this team's a little different?
I would say probably the back-to-back wins. We won the JT Poston. And funny thing is, we were about 4 shots back when our first player was on the 18th tee box. And it was tee time, so everyone was going to finish on 18 green. We're 4 back. You never know what could happen. Well, we end up clipping Kennesaw State and winning that tournament. So that was kind of a unique thing. And then the next week, we go to Wisconsin on a really tight golf course. Like, you have to drive the ball on a string. Mm-hmm. It's either fairway or you're in the junk. So there's no in between there on that golf course. To go there, never seen the golf course before, and win by 10 shots, it was kind of this is an aha moment. I think we know we're a pretty good team, but I think this is a special group of guys this year.
Of course, you came up a little bit short in the conference tournament, but still getting that do you feel like your team's kind of like, we want to finish the season better than how that ended, I guess is what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so, match play is so unique. Match play doesn't necessarily determine the best team when it comes to finding a winner in that format, but it's the most drama-filled, electric, fun format of golf. So I do agree with the match play component. But you got to play good in match play. It goes so fast. It's twosomes. That's good. Pick it up. We can move on to the next hole. So it goes by pretty quickly. It's a different kind of golf. You're no longer playing the course. You're playing the player. So even though we didn't have the success we wanted in match play this year, you know, that doesn't deter our season and our body of work that we put forth in stroke play. Hopefully in the future we can put a check mark in that box and bring the first conference championship home to Southern Miss Golf on the men's side. Shout out to Coach Colton on the women's side with his last year. Hopefully we can check that box next year.
I mean, there's no question the investment into this program to get you these facilities and the things you have outside and things like that has elevated this program. But do you feel like this is almost like the proof of the elevation of the program to finally get into the regionals?
Yeah, I think it's validation.
Yeah.
You know, validation for Southern Miss Golf is certainly invested, or the university is certainly invested in their golf programs. We're in a southern geographic part of the country to where we really have good weather outside year round. So, you know, that is a golf climate. The investments that have been made, this is a return on those investments. We want to continue to make our alums, our donors, our administration, we want to make them proud. So hopefully this is the start of a new trend for us. And personally, I just want to keep up with our baseball program. So what Hill, Corky, Coach Barry, who I call 40, you know, Oz, there's just a huge history there in baseball. We have a good golf history there, but we want to add to that going forward and have a great future in golf at Southern Miss.
I mean, you've put a lot into this program. For you personally, I mean, what does this feel like?
Feels great. You know, there's a lot of times I miss some things with our family at home. I've got 3 young kids, you know, so I am a dad too. You try to keep my brownie point account high with my wife, so she works full time, and so it becomes a lot on our family at times, but this is a sacrifice we knew we were going to make. You know, her and I have been together since college, and you know, we knew what we were getting into, but I love the game of golf, love Southern Miss, and these are the sacrifices you make for the things you love in life. And so, I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling, but as a coach, I've got to think about the future. You know, it's tough to live in the present and enjoy the now when I have to be so focused on the future of the program to keep the train moving forward. Hopefully one day I'll get to reflect and look back on it, but now's not that time.
Just, I guess, finally, you know, going into this weekend, I mean, what do you feel like the confidence level of the team is at?
So we've talked about it all year. We've talked about this being a step towards the ultimate prize, which is going to the national championship. That is our goal here at Southern Miss. You know, we want to get a tee time over in California at Lacoste for the national championship. So this is a step along the way. Once you make the NCAA regionals, it's a little bit more of a pressure-packed tournament because your ranking is obsolete now. So all you have to do is finish top 5. Winning regionals is cool, but if you're 1st through 5th, doesn't matter. You still move on to the national championship and you start all over again there. So, you know, this being a stepping stone, that's the ultimate prize that we're trying to get this program to a national championship caliber program.